How's it going, everybody? So this is going to be a really quick video on the channel, but I know I have a lot of Aries fans on this channel. But if you're seeing the title, yes, I saw Aries this past weekend live in concert, and it was absolutely the best night of my life. I've been watching I didn't record a lot of footage. I don't mind like recording a few songs because I like having those memories. But the day after the concert, I was just watching footage all day and just smiling the whole time, and it was just such a great time. And I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is still kind of hoarse. I was just screaming the whole time, and yeah, so. But from the get-go, it was just a great time overall. I mean, I already kind of had the feeling that Aries fans, they're really nice people, and they're just a really cool fan base to be around. So before I got in line and everything, I just had a feeling I was gonna meet some people and talk to people and share stories about how we found out about Aries and just stuff like that. Yeah, so I essentially met 8 to 10 people in line that were first in line, hardcore dedicated Aries fans. And the cool thing about Aries is, since he's an up and coming artist, you don't really have to camp out for a good spot or anything like that, at least not yet. So eventually the doors opened to the venue that he was playing at, and I was just shaking the whole time, I remember. And so as soon as I get my ticket scanned and I walk into the venue, there's stairs that kind of curl and lead upwards. And so in my head, I was interested in the merch and what was at the merch table and stuff like that. But in my head, I'm like, I need to get a good spot first. I cannot miss out on a good spot just because I want to get merch or something like that. So the first thing in my head was just get a spot first. Don't worry about merch. You can get that after the show. So I walk up the stairs, I walk past the merch table, and I turn the corner, and the front row is basically just empty. Just basically, it was just me and the other people that I was in line with. We were all in the front, and I think we were all just in disbelief, we are seriously this close. We could literally touch the speakers. I'll talk about it later, but during the show, you had to be careful about where your hands were, or where your fingers were, because that's how close Aries was to you. He literally, there was times he was stomping his feet, and you had to watch your fingers. Anyway, so before Aries, performs and all that good stuff, there was something on the stage that caught my eye, and it was specifically the drum set. The drum set was really cool because, as you can see, it kind of has its own style to it that, some Aries would, Aries would like. Before the concert, I was trying to stay away from as much, footage and, visuals, the background visuals and stuff like that as much as possible. I didn't want to be spoiled at all. And so unfortunately, Breakins was supposed to open for Aries, and I was actually really excited to see Breakins because I actually like a few of his songs. But unfortunately, Breakins, I think he got strep throat or something like that a few shows before the show that I went to. His voice just wasn't, healthy enough to perform. But then it gets to 9 o'clock, and oh my goodness, the introduction sequence, for when Aries comes out, it's amazing. I think a lot of artists, especially on tour, they all have probably their unique introduction and unique background visuals, but Aries was definitely my favorite out of all the ones I've seen. His was so cool. Like I said, I didn't record too much footage of it, but what I'm gonna do is someone posted a full set of his performance in Denver, Colorado, I think, and it's a really, really good video of the whole set, and you can see the background visuals, you can see the introduction, I think. But yeah, I'll put the link to that video in the description below. There was so much going on during that introduction sequence, because there's right from the get-go, I think a mosh pit was involved, or a mosh pit was being created, and so there's just so much to process. But from what I remember, there's a countdown going on, and then you hear a voice say open the mosh pit, right? And all of a sudden the crowd starts creating the mosh pit in the middle of the venue, and then all of a sudden you hear Underdog, who's the guitarist for Aries, you hear Underdog do the little guitar melody for Fool's Gold. And oh my goodness, when that started happening, I was like, okay, here we go. This next hour is about to go insane, This is about to be the best hour of my life. And it's funny because I was so focused on the mosh pit, and I'll show it in the video. I was so focused on the mosh pit, I had no idea that Aries was as he was singing the lead verse, or the first verse, he was walking alongside to my right. But I was still kind of focused on the mosh pit, right? And so you can see it in the video. Some kid is it's him, or there he is, or he's pointing to somebody, and I look up, and Aries is just standing right above me, right? And I'm like, okay, here we go. there. It's history. The energy that Aries brings to concerts, it's something that's unmatched. It's you can I mean, he talks about it a lot during the performance, and I think in interviews as well. He loves performing, and you can genuinely tell that he's just so happy that he's growing as an artist. And at one point during the show, he kind of asked the crowd like, "Hey, like, who's never been to an Aries show before?" And most of the people, I think, didn't raise their hands, and that made him happy because it means he's growing as an artist and he's getting new fans. For each project he drops, and you can just tell that made him genuinely happy. And so yeah, Fool's Gold was definitely one of my favorite songs he performed. I mean, the live instrumentation throughout the whole concert was amazing, but the drums on Fool's Gold I feel like were so good. I don't know, I just remember those the most. Bounty Hunter, the background visuals for Bounty Hunter, I didn't really take any pictures or footage of Bounty Hunter, but the background visuals for Bounty Hunter were so cool because it was like kind of like an arcade, old school, retro video game kind of style, if you want to call it. And you can just tell he has so much fun performing that song, and that was another one of my favorites for sure. Kids on Molly is definitely one of my favorite songs by Aries, if not my favorite, so I was definitely excited for him to perform that one as well. He's been performing this new song called Comet at the shows too, and I don't know if that's on a new project or if that's a single for a new project in the future, but he did a couple covers. He did 1,000 Miles, which is so good. So good. In the End by Linkin Park is also phenomenal. Another thing that was cool about the show is, I think a lot of artists, they like getting a little bit personal at their shows because they get to see everybody in the crowd and they get to see, actual faces, you know what I mean? And so it was really cool to hear Aries, tell stories about, like when he was growing up and how he would deal with anxiety and, panic attacks and stuff like that. And it was just really cool to see, like, another side of him that, I'm sure he talks about it in interviews and stuff like that, but outside of that, unless you know him personally, you don't really get to, see that side of him. Writing, oh my goodness, writing was, I mean, we all know what the energy in writing is like already, like in the studio version, but if you can imagine it live, it's just 10 times better. And like I said, the background visuals were really cool for that one as well. And oh man, that was really good. I also really liked Blossom. Blossom was one that, Blossom, I really like Blossom. I just didn't know if he would perform it because it's, it's an older song, but like it was bopping at the concert. Like I was bobbing my head the whole time. It was so good. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet Aries. I know a lot of people. Aries is so cool. He'll stay after the shows and he'll like meet people and sign stuff and take pictures of people. And obviously, he's not obligated to do that at all. So actually, the concert that I went to, he actually was feeling a bit under the weather that day, so he wasn't really feeling that well. But if anything, we're really lucky that he performed at all because he actually was like, I think he said he was considering just not performing at all because he was feeling really sick and he just wasn't up to it. But honestly, we couldn't really tell. Like he was still singing like really good, and it was just a really amazing night overall. And then I think his name was Max. We had Max on the drums. He was drumming for Aries. And like I said on Fool's Gold, the drums sounded so good, and like he also killed it. Like I was really impressed with Underdog and Max. They really did their thing on stage. As I mentioned, I didn't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to give the Aries fans out there on this channel a little taste of the concert experience and my experience and stuff like that. I know a lot of people on this channel are fans of Aries and came from my Aries album reaction video. Not to mention, it's been a while since we've talked about Aries on the channel. I mean, I think since November when the album dropped, so it's always good talking about him, so why not? Oh, and I almost forgot. I'm sure you've already noticed, but I got the poster. I got this from the concert, and oh my god, it was just an incredible night overall. And I highly, highly recommend, if you ever get the chance to see Aries live in concert, 100% do it. It is definitely something you will not regret. I know people were telling me who saw him during like the Welcome Home era or the Welcome Home tour. People were telling me how the energy is insane, and I believe them, but like. Obviously, I was waiting to see it for myself, and yeah, they weren't lying. It's just something you have to see for yourself. So with that being said, that's going to do it for me. I know it's a pretty short video, but as I mentioned, for the people who really love Aries on this channel, I know this is something they would really appreciate. And also, if anybody else went to any shows during this tour, I'd love to hear your experience in the comment section below and just what you thought about the concert. With that being said, that's going to do it for me today. Hope everyone's staying safe and taking care of themselves. Take care.